G'day garage peoples. Today we're going to chat about Porsche 996. I bought a Porsche 996 recently. I think it's super cool, and sort of just cover the reasons why you might consider buying it. And so there's two reasons that you buy a Porsche 996. One is very apparent. The first one's very apparent, and the second one is less apparent, but is really the one that should be driving your decision to consider a 996. So the first one, of course, is just value. At the moment, if you look at previous models, so if you look at the 80s cars, the SCs, the Carreras and so on, they're all 100,000 Aussie dollars plus, and yet they're still 100 grand. The 964 was, of course, about 88% new, and that's when they started to improve and evolve a little, and became much more drivable, much more livable. But of course, 964s now, past 100,000 Aussie dollars now, more like 150,000 for a manual version. And so just getting a little out of touch in terms of price. And then, of course, the last of the air-cooled was the 993. I think my favourite one. I've had a couple of different ones. I've had a cab. I've had a Guards Red hardtop, which was a super little car. But again, the price of a 993 in Australia 3 or 4 years ago would have been, under 100,000 for a manual. Now you'd be lucky to buy one for 130 or 140,000. So the earlier models are particularly expensive. And then the later models, so after the 996 came the 997, and the 997s were cheap for quite a while, but in the last 12 months, 18 months in particular, I think people have decided that because they're still small and yet they had fantastic engines, you can buy them in manual, they had the more traditional rounded headlight. Those cars have gone from 60, 70, 80, I guess, depending on whether it was an S or not, to now 100,000 plus for virtually anything. Certainly anything in a manual, and well more than that indeed in a manual. So the earlier models are more expensive, the later models are more expensive, and yet in the middle is the 996, where you can still buy a good 996 with good service history and relatively low kilometres, even in a manual and potentially even in a coupe, for sort of 50 or 60,000 Aussie dollars. So again, the second reason, by far the more important reason to own a 996 is because it's such a bloody good car. I encourage you to go back and watch some YouTubes at the time, or read Evo or Car Magazine online. Find a late 80s edition which covered the 996 when it was released, and the reviews are universally glowing, and essentially comment to the fact that this was a major step up over the air-cooled cars, incredibly confident for the time, so very contemporary in terms of its abilities, but still retaining all the core attributes of a 911 in terms of its immediacy, how well it feels and steers and brakes and stops and sounds and goes and so on, were retained, but in a much more contemporary package. And that's what this car is. It's just a fantastic driver's car, and the reason I think that the price has sort of been so low for so long is really just coming back to the looks, and people sort of didn't like those, as they call them, the fried egg headlights because of the association with the Boxster. But if you put them aside, what you actually had was a really competent, fantastic, true Porsche 911. Okay, so again, what you end up with is a very contemporary 911 that feels fantastic, drives amazingly, at a price that isn't a lot dissimilar to probably buying a Toyota Corolla these days. So I have a strong view that 996 prices aren't going to stay where they are at the moment. One, they're too cheap, and two, they're too good. They're super cool, and I think actually as time's gone on, the way they look is getting more and more acceptable, and people are loving them.
this particular version that's for sale on the garage at the moment, on the auction site, is pretty unique because it's got the full leather dash. The full leather dash option was a crazily expensive option at the time when they were new. I think it was like $8,000 to have the leather dash, and it really makes the inside of the 996 look quite special. It covers the tops of the doors in leather as well as the dashboard. Apart from that, the other thing that's most special about this car is that it's a coupe. If you want to buy a car that's got some prospect of share price appreciation of being a collector item, you want a coupe and you want manual, and that's what this one is. And of course it comes with the superhero colour in this version as well, the bronze colour. Center console, which looks fantastic, and it's actually got a Rennsport gear changer. Otherwise, I think all factory standard, including really cool twist wheels. The original amber lights are fantastic. I really like the Carrera on the back in black. Some of the other versions of that have 911 or badged elite, but I think the Carrera in black looks fantastic. And you can see the condition is just wonderfully clean, original. There is some grazing on the bonnet there. Someone backed into it obviously at some stage, but otherwise really clean and original version. That steering wheel is the three spoke steering wheel. That was a factory option as well. Starts fantastic first time every time, and little 3.4 engine in beautiful clean condition.